Started 6:30. How about some action? Aaron Gordon, all about that action. DJ Augustine, he knows that and gets an easy assist.
Oh, go and get it.
Orlando pulls out to an early lead, but ball got a mind of its own.
That's what we call shooter's touch.
Luke Kennard has it, caps a 26 Pistons run. We got a tie game. Scary moment for Detroit. Blake Griffin goes down doing the splits. Looks like he gets up limping, but quick recovery, strong inside.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Blake Griffin on this play right here as he gets the and one.
15 points for him. DJ Augustine, hello, from outside.
He's quietly had a terrific season for this Magic team and really helped to kind of solidify their backcourt.
From the city of New Orleans, 26 points, 8 assists for DJ. How about that remix from Reggie Jackson? Pistons not done yet, but slam dunk champion Terrence Ross.
Oh, that's
Reggie
tough.
Bullock fouled there, and he's money. Yeah, that's not a good play.
Probably not a good foul if you're Orlando Magic and Grant.
2.5 seconds remaining. We have a tie game. Evan Fournier
Bailed him out.
I got you back,
Big time shot.
Nice touch over Andre Drummond. The big fella knows how to play good defense. Fournier beats him to the spot. And Orlando on top, 109-107. Again, great game from DJ Augustine, 26 and 8. But when you hit the game-winning shot, you do the interview afterwards. Big-time shot by Evan Fournier. How about a big-time game for Karl-Anthony Towns in Miami? That's a lot of effort.
Ooh.
And then Towns, you saw him cleaning up his own miss, helping his teammates out as well.
Well, that's one thing that has really changed since the trade. He's not hanging out by the three-point line. He's down underneath the basket, battling and getting rebounds.
Speaking of battling, Dwayne Wade continues to battle this season.
Flash. You call him Flash when he does that.
Yeah, that's a flashback.
Oh, I see you. 21 and 5 for him. Andrew Wiggins cashing. Minnesota with the 3-point lead. KAT, as in cat, dominating.
He was just imposing his will on the Heat, particularly in the paint, not settling, as you mentioned, Candace, for that jump shot, but making sure his imprint was in the paint.
It's consistent.
Oh, he didn't block that one.
Goodness.
Derrick Jones. Remember my name.
A lot of business decisions down there.
Yes.
But you know, when Karl-Anthony Towns is doing this, one dunk doesn't count for 3 points, Candace. It's simple math.
You're right, Chris.
And how about some defense?
There you go, big fella.
Career high 6 blocks for Karl-Anthony Towns to go along with 34 points, 18 rebounds, 7 assists, also 3 steals. Minnesota gets the win, 113-104. Oh, a special happy birthday to the 34-year-old LeBron James. And I think the fans know what's up. See by what their own news are. Not match the offer for restricted free agent Patrick McCaw, and he's now a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. By not matching the deal, Golden State saves about $11 million in luxury tax. Speaking of the Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal were once teammates there, and the big fella wished King James a special happy birthday. How special is that? Time to go at the buzzer. Here's LeBron on his birthday.
So far, man, I've been getting a lot of birthday wishes and everything. I want to thank everybody so far who's wished me a happy 34th birthday, man. Like fine wine, I feel like I'm getting better and better with age.
Congratulations to LeBron James. And again, 34 years young. The funniest part of that is I think he's trolling, aging like fine wine. Right? You heard him say it.
Yeah.
How did he enter the game the other night? Huh?
With some fine wine.
Yeah. I think he's doing that.
I mean, he's ahead of us all.
Are you going to start that this next season? You going to pop up at the game with a little bit of vino.
Heck yeah. I want some of that stash that he posted on his Instagram.
Yeah.
See, you're talking the
that's
game.
that
She's going to
fine
start
wine.
showing up to shows.
Oh, yeah. You guys are going to see.
She's already done that. I thought you didn't get the memo?
See, the stars of the show get to do that, like
Nah,
you
we wish.
and her. Me?
Maybe after the show.
There's got to be agua in this
They
cup.
said it's healthy to have one glass a day,
Congratulations.
What a yeah!
on your birthday.
depending on how big the glass is.
Candace GA, I'm Chris. Thank you. Russell Westbrook gets the look in the corner for the win. 4 for 22 from the field, 0 for 8 from three-point range. In Dallas, they win their second game in the last 9 tries, getting some clutch plays from Luka Doncic, DeAndre Jordan, and Dennis Smith. That's a growth victory for them.
Absolutely. And listen, they have been really good at home. They're having struggles right now closing these kinds of games out on the road. And so that's going to be the next step. I really feel like this team could be a playoff team this year. I mean, no Wesley Matthews tonight, who's obviously going to be a big part of what they do. Harrison Barnes, he's proven that he can score. Luka Doncic has shown you that he is their best player. So they're going to have a chance, I think, to make the postseason. They're going to be in that conversation. When you look at those teams anywhere from 6 to 12, and if I'm Dallas, I feel like we're every bit as good. And why can't we get there? And bringing over DeAndre Jordan also is paying big dividends.
I think it also says a lot that your best player on your team is a rookie. And a lot of times it takes a team a long time to adjust to a player coming in that young being the best player. And you see players like Harrison Barnes, you see Dennis Smith Jr. sacrificing their game a little bit and playing off of Doncic. And you don't see that a lot in terms of, obviously the caliber of player that Luka, he commands it. But I do agree with you. I think they'll figure things out on the road, and they are going to be in the playoffs.
They've got the worst road record in the entire league, 2-15. And to your point, the thing that makes it great for them is he's earned it. Like, they respect his ability because they see it every day in practice. And you know how it is when that's where it starts. In practice, when you're out there with a guy, when you see his grasp of the game and how he plays it, his understanding of it, he's not your typical rookie. He is age-wise, but those 3 years he spent as a professional overseas have paid huge dividends for him and that Mavericks franchise.
And certainly for Dallas, they know, okay, Luka's going to get the ball in clutch situations, and you saw it pay off there. Dennis Smith Jr. looking around for Luka, gets a wide-open layup at the end of that game. But for OKC, they got 2 looks. Paul George, probably the better quality look. Russell Westbrook, relatively open in the corner as well. Your 2 best players get those shots you want.
Well, in terms of Paul George, obviously playing against a smaller defender, gets to his spot. He's known for knocking down that elbow jump shot 8 or 9 out of 10 times. So I don't have a problem with that. They changed up their set a little bit after the timeout, got Russell a look in the corner, but obviously with him shooting 4 for 22 from the field, Russell's the type of player where that shot goes in just because he's Russell Westbrook and he's going to continue to hunt those shots, and he usually finds his rhythm towards the end of the game. But, they've won 10 road games this season, leads the league in road wins this season, and they've picked up defensively. So, OKC is going to be extremely scary in the playoffs.
Yeah, but to me, they lost this game. Their 2 best players both had a critical turnover down the stretch of that game. Paul George had the turnover off the crossover in traffic, and then Westbrook with trying to find George coming off that screen over the top, threw the ball away. Those are 2 live ball turnovers that Dallas was able to convert and score. And those are the plays you can't have, especially on the road in that kind of environment. So they're going to kick themselves more for those missed opportunities and the fact that they were able to give up points in transition on the other end.
Winning on the road so hard around the NBA, and Philadelphia 76. Candace, that last point that Jimmy made really stuck with you.
Well, yeah, we were in the studio on Thursday, and, Chuck said something very interesting. He said that as he grew older and matured as a player, he understood that you can't be a teammate to everybody the same. You can't yell at everybody. There's different factors that motivate different players, and the more you learn that and the earlier you learn that, the more successful you'll be. And I think just from his trade from Chicago to the Timberwolves and now to Philly, he understands that things that motivate certain players, don't work across the board. And sometimes you have to change a little bit of how you communicate. And not that the expectation of a teammate should fall or should drop, but the way that you communicate that, obviously really says a lot about how he has to go about things.
Yeah. What I took away from the conversation that he had with KG, what I thought was a great interview, is when you look at Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, like, they want to be great. And I don't want this to come across the wrong way, but not everybody in our league wants to be great. Not everybody wants the responsibility of being great, because there comes a lot of arrows with that. There comes a lot of vitriol. There comes a lot of hatred, and not everybody is built for it. And I think that's the one thing that he sees in Embiid that maybe in Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, they hadn't matured to that point. And so when you're a guy about to turn 30 and you want to have a chance to compete at the highest level, you want guys that get it sooner. And I think that those two guys get it in terms of the attention to detail, the fact that they want to be great, that you listen to how they talk. And Embiid holds himself to a high standard. If he's not good, he's the first to tell you, I suck tonight. I got to be better. And those are the attributes that the great ones show. Like, in this business, you got to be able to hold your own self accountable. You got to be willing to look in the mirror, and it can't always be someone else's fault when you don't perform well. And that's, I think we got a little bit somewhat in Minnesota. Rightfully or wrongfully, that's what I took away from that. I think he feels with these guys, they ride or die. Like Simmons and Embiid, they're trying to win championships. They're not trying to win the PR competition. They're trying to win. And I think he feels like that's what I want at this stage of my life, is to be on a group or with a group like that.
I think the thing we can see, we can look at all the stats we want to all day, but when Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons were the headband brothers, and you look at why they decided to do that, was to make a commitment defensively, to try to be better as a unit defensively. What does that tell you about this group? Again, so many great things came out of the Kevin Garnett interview, but defensively, what their identity wants to be.
Well, they are capable of being a great defensive team, as they showed glimpses last year. I mean, ranking third in defensive rating last year, obviously just 11th this year with the addition of Butler. But you also have to think they're a little thin on the perimeter in defense, and so they have to make up a lot in what you spoke to earlier, just rely heavily on Butler to not only put the ball in the basket in the closing minutes, but also be able to defend the best player on the other team. They have the ability to switch with size like Ben Simmons, and also they have the will. They want to be a good defensive team. They know that to win a championship, they have to be. And Ben Simmons has gone on record saying that he wants to be Defensive Player of the Year. Joel is a candidate for that, so they have all the pieces.
And again, that right there speaks to what I just talked about. Like, it used to be like you'd hear guys when they'd come into the league, you heard different, I want to be an iconic player. I want to be an all-time great. People, oh, that's Eric. No, that's a belief that you got to have. Like, you got to set those goals for yourself if you really want to be great. If you want to aspire to the highest level, you don't come in saying, man, I just want to be a journeyman. I just want to play in the NBA for 12 years or 15 years. No, I want to leave my stamp on the game, and that's what I think those guys have. Now, granted, the statistics may not bear it out, but I can guarantee you they're better prepared for the postseason with Jimmy Butler. No disrespect to what you get with Covington, who's a really good player, and Sarge, but they have another guy that can make every play, whether it be score it, defend it, rebound it, pass it when it matters. They didn't have that last year. He gives them that in those big moments, those critical winning times as they progress and get better. Yeah, the bench is not where they probably would want it, but they're closer to their goals now than they were 2 months ago.
You say in winning time, in the clutch, having that right player. The team they're playing tonight, the Portland Trail Blazers, have that in Damian Lillard for